With the Edge of Fate expansion having been showcased, we are no doubt in for some new exotics for Destiny 2's next expansion. But today I'm here to talk about the current exotic weapons that we have in game now, and we'll go over each one to describe what they say, specifically about you. This video is in all good fun and not at all biased towards some of my favorites. Sort of. As always, if you enjoy the video, please give it a like, and without further ado, let the mayhem begin. You love nostalgia. Whether it be from Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, Kvostov has been there since the very beginning. Though its Destiny 1 version was a bit lackluster, Destiny 2 really hit that head on the nail with its ricochet bullets being part of its intrinsic perk. Plus, you, just like Bungie, love the number 7 for some weird reason. Freaking weirdo. You are most likely a Titan user, because of how much melee recharge you get back from its perk. If you're not a Titan who loves this weapon, you love how the weapon fires, and its glaive mode that makes it really stand out. It may be mid in the average player's eyes, but it's fun to you, if you're either British or you just love stabbing things. You got so sick and tired of those annoying chicken-walking wyverns that slap the absolute piss out of you. So you decided to take your revenge and get this absolute unit of a weapon. Although it does take special ammo, you don't care. Anything that deals decent DPS or to take out the Vex's version of an ATST is good enough for you. Now if only you could have used this on Maya Cinderesh instead of letting her escape. You love everything that goes fast in life. Your abilities, your gameplay, even your love life. Suros is no exception to this. Although it's outclassed by other autos, you don't care, and will stick by its side either until the auto meta comes back, or when Bungie stops giving us constant pulse metas. Please stop, Bungie. You're either a Travel Danielle fan, or you're in the +1 cult. Or both, honestly. I don't get Cerberus, but I don't want to badmouth it either. It's unique like how exotic should be, and perhaps one day it'll get its own moment in trials or even competitive. For now, just enjoy your gun. Please don't send anyone after me. Please? Your weapon is silly but unique, shooting little missiles out the longer you fire and creating a strand ball that can be utilized in any way on any class is perfect. You're often overlooked by the meta, but you're an underdog, and honestly, I love underdogs. Unless you're Airbud, cause those movies are unrealistic as fuck. You are annoyingly fun, and I mean this in the best possible way. Fighting you in PvP may be annoying, but you're having fun. You don't care about the meta or any filthy hand cannons, looking at you, Thorn, getting in your way. This is best paired up with an Actium War Rig Titan, but it can be used by literally anyone. Also, Big Gun Go Burr. You are underrated as hell. Your perks and catalysts are surprisingly fun, and in Arc 3.5, you are a hidden pick to run. You can hold your own surprisingly well in PvP, and are really easy to build around in PvE. Just keep doing your thing and you'll be fine. If I wanted to burn my hands while constantly cooking, I'd use a frying pan. That being said, you feel a little underwhelming. Don't get me wrong, you are unique, but something is missing, and I honestly don't know what it is. I want to love you, but I'd rather use the toaster than you to destroy my food. I mean enemies, rather than to be burning myself just to get one tapped by those annoying sniper shanks. Oh, yeah, Tommy's is a surprising pick, used by guess who? Hunters! Isn't that just swell? I can't really ever get a good read on you guys. I get why you like the gun, and yet I'm still left with a lot of questions. I hate to be that guy and everything, but Hardlight feels very out of place in today's world of D2. Match Game Modifier got shafted, Prismatic basically killed its 3 subclass perk, and basically any gun can have ricochet rounds on it now. I think Hardlight is very good for new players, but then after a while it feels kinda useless. It would be the same for Borealis, but honestly Borealis is a little bit better than Hardlight in my opinion. Sorry, but it's just the truth. You enjoy aiming for the head, causing explosions and dunking on anyone who stands in your way. You shred through ads like they're nothing, and if I'm honest, anyone I come across with this weapon scares me, because they can literally decimate me with that exotic perk proct. You also got really lucky with the Crota lottery, and are happy to let everyone know that you exist. Lucky bastards. Perfection in an arc bow. You either love killing everything in sight or being ad clear in any raid. You get a sense of euphoria every time you enable its perk over and over again. If you have the catalyst, well, then expect that euphoria to soar. So much, in fact, that it has caused your mouse or your controller to probably be covered by something sticky as a result from your kills that you've gotten. Yeah, kills. Also, your kill counter with that exotic is probably in the 10,000s or more. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. You are cool in PvE. Poisoning everything in sight that makes World War I look like the average kid's sandbox area is awesome. But you're also there to have fun, and that's all that matters to you. Now in PvP, go yourself. This was your first ever dungeon exotic, and once you read what it did, you felt like your average aim junkie's loser. I mean cheater. Then, when Bungie buffed it, you felt unstoppable, and ever since then, it's been your baby all the way through. A very cool exotic that packs quite a punch. Why the is your draw time so long? You probably loved setting things on fire growing up, hence why Tiku's is so close to your heart. Its arrows are like Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy, just gunning for their targets before scorching them, and after aiming down sights, you just turn into Megumin yelling "Explosion!" while everything spontaneously combust. I think you might need to see a counselor. Just like Tiku's, you love heat-seeking death arrows flying towards your enemies, except through the magical ring of guidance. Now, some people will ask you, why are you wasting an exotic slot on a bow that does basically nothing? I'll ask, why are you using a bow that requires you to hip fire just to create a ring, just to go back to ADS mode? Like, wouldn't I want to stay in ADS just to create the ring? Also, you're still mad that Bungie got rid of Warmind cells that made this thing work so well. Hashtag bring back Warmind cells. You either love using this weapon because of its usefulness, or because of some certain kinks you're into. No, don't go to another video. I see you, you sick That browser history of yours, it has a bigger impact than this bow's damage, and you need help. You love stasis, and this bow is a great weapon in any stasis build. Can I just say that having 5 arrows in one shot is absolutely terrifying to think about? It may be useless in PvP and a lightweight frame bow, but you only care about freezing that group of ads and then shattering them just like Aramis did to that servitor in Beyond Light. This was either your first raid exotic, like me, or you just really love fusion rifles. Whatever the reason may be, you love to say that Vex cooks in both PvP and PvE. From its full auto mode taking down guardians and hobgoblins to its linear mode that deals decent damage when facing mini bosses. You'll never let it go because it reminds you of all the good times you had from Destiny 1. You also jump for joy and do backflips whenever particle deconstruction is an artifact perk. Oh, and you're also still mad that Bungie still hasn't fixed that reload glitch. You love shotguns, but you also love fusion rifles, and then went to Saint 14, begging to have both. You love how easily it shreds through champions and guardians alike, and that glorious noise it makes when each shot is fired. You may not have it easy because of its limitations, but it's still your top pick. You also really enjoyed the Corridors of Time event when this first came out, and honestly, I kinda wish I was there too. You love chaos. You want to watch the world burn as you desecrate it all around. You don't care how much it may break cheese forever or how many times Bungie disables your weapon. You always come back. Plus, with its new addition to its catalyst, you are finding new ways to just break the universe itself. I am very terrified about you guys. You're a rare species, but you know how to build around a lot of grenade energy. You probably use Prismatic considering it lets you use every nade in every subclass, and you're just there to blow shit up. You don't care about the meta that much, and if I had to compare you to anything, you're like the Cincinnati Bengals, whereas you're not as noticeable now, but you're close to shining brightly. If I had to question anyone in this list, it's definitely this group. You're an oddball. You think bread is better as an entire loaf that should be shot out of a cannon, and just like Tommy's, you love setting things on fire. Like, a lot. You're the meme pick in exotics, and that tracks because of Toad's smoothie. Honestly, how does anyone just say bread for an entire raid? You've been waiting so long for your weapon to have its time in the spotlight, and by God, just like the average Maple Leafs fan, you're gonna let everyone know you exist. You knew your weapon was already pretty good, but then Arc 3.5 came in, and you, just like an average Eagles fan winning the Super Bowl, went ballistic. You're probably an Ionic Trace Warlock that finally has an Arc build to solo flawless the new Sunder Doctrine dungeon, and to be quite frank, it's nice seeing underused exotics getting their time to shine. Only took a year and a half, but we got there. You've been an advocate for this weapon ever since you saw it melt Callus back when he was a well-written character and a raid boss that Swestical would test literally every exotic on. You probably run Rain of Fire or anything that gives you Radiant just to turn around and absolutely mag dump the boss. Especially now with the current artifact perks, it's a go-to option as long as you're not getting blocked by Queensbreaker. Initially, my dumbass thought that 1K was a linear fusion rifle for how long it took for you to charge it up. But no, it's a fusion rifle. Anyways, your exotic makes you look like a former president of the United States, specifically Barack Obama. You came into this world as a new, fresh, clean-cut weapon that used power to destroy the evils of the world. But then Bungie looked at you just like how Congress looked at Obama during his second term and just shut your exotic down, nerfing its damage and essentially turning it into a gray-haired man with way too much stress. However, it does come back now and then, giving hope that one day, maybe, just maybe, it can be buffed one last time, just like when it was young. I miss you, Obama. Since Father Bungie and the development team know what fun is, Pete, they were so kind to give everyone all three of the craftable glaives, which were previously tied down to their respective classes. So with that being said, if you main any of these, you love variety. You love to try different builds on each of the classes just to see how they work, and love not being chained down to just one exotic alone. Though changes like this are a one-off and may not last forever, you're going to enjoy it for as long as humanly possible. You miss being on Strand Titan with ACDCs and wielding this support glaive in Crucible because my god, it felt unstoppable. If not, you just simply love its craftable perk options, or perhaps for how much overshield you can get from charging it up. Maybe you love that it's another Vex theme weapon, or just simply the color pink or blue. Whatever it may be, you're a team player in providing overshields for everyone. You probably looked at a regular glaive and thought to yourself, man, I wish this was a heavy weapon. Then boom, you got a heavy glaive. You love the little stasis spiky ball that freezes enemies as it travels in order to build up all that frost armor resistance. You're also probably a titan with synthos or a hunter with triton vice, and you just love stabbing everything with it. You also love showing your big glaive to everyone too for some weird reason. You love the Wild West and Tex Mechanica so much that you overlooked every other Tex Mechanica weapon and chose this dust bucket of an exotic instead. You could also be a good old fashioned TF2 player who saw this weapon and it reminded you of being a demo man main. You shed out a lot of ammo and expect a humongous explosion, only to have a single red bar drag walk over all of your work and crush your hopes and dreams the same way Bungie crushed this exotic by not updating its perk from being literally anything but full auto. You have a weird fascination with bugs, especially spiders. You love bolting for the heavy ammo in Crucible and watching the kill feed light up in your name as your death bots chase down your enemies. Just like Tommy's, again, I feel like you're missing something in PvE that keeps you on the cusp of something fun. But I mean, at least you have the season's artifact to create mini volatile explosions. Just keep your weird bug pets away from me. You must love the Hive a lot, to the point where you main this weapon by heart. A Hive themed build, boom, Exduris. A support hunter build, boom, Exduris. A gun that doesn't need no reload, boom, Icebreaker, I mean Exduris. You've always thought of a Hive Guardian to be the real thing, and with this weapon, you could probably get Auntie Savi's attention for once. You're either an Epic Defender or an Epic Defender fan, or another life form that isn't human, because I cannot fathom how the hell you kill me with that tiny thing in Crucible. It's gotten to the point where I fear one day going up against somebody who just did a line of Coke, slurped down Diet Dr. Pepper, and just goes full on God mode with this exotic, to the point where if I am ever found dead, I am beyond recognition. Let's be honest with ourselves. The only reason you main this exotic is because you deal huge damage, or you simply use this to get past Atrax in Deepstone Crypt. The only thing I can see with this gun getting its catalyst is to where, upon impact with the initial big worm, it creates 3 smaller worms that deal additional damage. Wait, Bungie, no! Holy how are you even alive? Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Dead Messenger as much as the next guy, but like, dear God! Bungie took a look at this weapon and said, you know what? Let's make it craftable and give it the worst perks of all time. Oh, and don't even try to argue with me about that, because just look at this. Aside from Demolitionist, this shit sucks. The only reason I see this being your favorite is because it's a fun ad clear type weapon. Unfortunately, the only thing anyone will ever remember about this weapon was the hunter combo it had with Caliban's hand. You love ammo, and I mean a lot of ammo. You probably have on Aeons with this exotic and live up to the title of a mini side character. Aside from not being a truly main character, you have a good taste in weapon for utility, functionality, and even style, because that's the end game of Destiny after all. Something like that says a lot about a person that you are, and that is probably being a good person, for not just you, but your teammates as well. You are either one of two Witherhoard enjoyers. One side is someone who uses it in damage rotations to deal the highest amount of damage that even frightens the winner themselves. The other side is you being an absolute that loves to terrorize people in control, to the point where they will never touch PvP ever again. That's not even an exaggeration. Of all people who do this to poor Guardians is my friend Chrome. I mean, just look at this. I'm gonna make it a little bit easier for me this time. That way I'm not scrambling. He says, "Slow down, baby. I'm in charge here," and just blighted all over that poor Warlock. You used to be a mere speck in the world of D2, and after the changes made to this weapon, I've got to say that you are no longer a speck, but rather a mere dot on the radar. Yeah, sorry to be that guy, but if I'm being blunt here, there are a lot of better options when it comes to stasis theme exotics and even power weapons. That being said, it is still quite unique, and I think the Catalyst made it feel more like a fun exotic. Just not my cup of tea, though. You're loyal. Just straight up, you're loyal as hell. Your weapon has been through so much change, both nerfs and buffs, yet you still take time to appreciate its quirks and perks. Shut up, that does not rhyme. It may not always be the best when it comes to some damage phases or even in high-end content, but in the end, you will always stick with it till death do you part. You, sir or madam, are the best type of person to be in a long, committed relationship with Anarchy. Alright, that list is done now, and that was quite a bit, wasn't it? Anyways, what type of weapons do we have next? You love the Wild West and Shin Malphur. You're probably a hunter main that is kitted out in either a Shin Malphur cosplay or a cowboy hat that took you way too long because Bungie made it a class item for you guys. You also probably love Radiant Dance Machines because of how broken it made hipfire for this gun feel. You're very skillful though when it comes to this weapon. That may be because you're on controller, or perhaps you are the real Shin Malphur. You are the definition of a support main. I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot Thorn was a weapon, and I'm now just putting it in. Anyways, you're a mad scientist that is ready to spread the next COVID disease. Putting on your trusty necrotic grips, you spread so much poison that it makes the Black Plague look like an absolute joke. Everywhere you go, death lingers around, and somewhere down in hell, Dredgenyor is smiling at you. Psychopath. You're a vigilante who loves to play by their own rules. Every time you shoot this weapon, you know it's in the name of your favorite hunter friend, and you refuse to let anyone forget his name. No matter what weapons the Vanguard has in its arsenal, you will always rock what you consider to be the best exotic weapon of all time. Plus, you get a radar on screen whenever you ADS, so I guess that's also a perk too. You just love seeing things blown up, don't you? Who cares about the environment when that dreg in the Cosmodrome looked at you funny, causing him to spontaneously combust out of nowhere? Yeah. Combust. Aside from that, you purely love seeing a fireworks show, and pairing this weapon with any Scorch build is like butter on toast at 3 a.m. in the morning. Don't ask why I know that, just understand that's how this exotic feels whenever you use it. It's not weird, okay? God. You've seen your exotic go through a lot of changes, from being the first anti-barrier exotic to dominating in Gambit, all because of a coding issue. Good times. And back when Gambit used to be fun too. Although you know that your favorite weapon is outclassed by many others, you still can't let it go due to the amount of fun it has made this game feel. It may be a niche pick, but anything to 2-tap Guardians has your vote. When Red Death was seemingly lost in your Destiny 1 vault, it was only a matter of time before it had a successor. And that was exactly 24 hours for that successor to rise. While you know it's a hand cannon, still gives the same feeling and gunplay for what was once your Red Death. Just don't listen to the Vanguard about destroying it. No, but like seriously, don't destroy it. It's actually really good. You're a rather rare sight when it comes to this exotic. You often have it paired with Drang to deal out some of the most insane damage I have ever seen a hand cannon make. Like, god damn! That's a lot of damage. Aside from that, you're frustrating to go up against when it comes to PvP. Overall, not a bad choice, but kinda underrated if I'm being honest. It's Taken season. Don't lie, you love it when it's a Taken season. Whenever Bungie drops an expansion that somehow involves the Taken, you immediately head to your vault and dust it off, even if it's for 5 seconds. It surprisingly works well in PvP and in Gambit. Yeah, it's Gambit, so not really much to write off about. You also love how well it works with Witherhoard, and its simplistic design and gameplay are enough for you to just simply love this gun. Okay, Savalar mains. I mean, Hawkmoon mains. You love headshots, and your precision percentage is a big tell on just how well you get headshots from your impactful hand cannon. Considering that you have the masculine or feminine urge not to reload your gun just to keep your paracausal sock in the mouth shot is a nice way of me saying just how composed you are in a gunfight. You're also waiting for the day that Bungie stops giving this weapon to Xur and just makes it a craftable weapon like other exotics before it. But I'd be coping just like the average Overwatch player who thinks that bringing back loot boxes and having character perks are gonna fix the game. I personally love Hawkmoon as a weapon, and while it's not my favorite of all time, it's a pretty unique weapon that I'm happy to have returned in the season of the hunt. Yeah, that's how long it's been since this came out. Bungie, I think you might need to make this gun a craftable version before we lose it. You are the reason why Ariana Vow mains hate you. Like, a lot. I'm just kidding. But you are rather an ancient tale now, with your exotic. You once ran rampant in Crucible, terrorizing everyone that stood in your way. Then you became the most useful exotic when it came to Grandmasters, all because you had a good catalyst and finally had anti-barrier rounds. But now you're a rare sighting in both Nightfalls and Crucible, only having your trusty RB sandwich, I mean linear, whenever Ghost of the Deep is the featured dungeon. Hey, Editor Lone here. So it turns out that this thing is actually really good at bypassing certain encounters in Court of Blades. And all I can say is thank you, Bungie, for not touching Arby and letting it make Expert Court way easier than I thought it would be. But hey, at least you have particle deconstruction. It would suck if something was gatekeeping everyone from using your exotic. Oh. We'll get to you soon. I hate you. You are a Threadlings enthusiast. You just love making as many Threadlings as humanly possible and unleashing your army of little green bombers upon your enemies. At the time of writing this script, Act 3 has been confirmed to include strand perks into the artifact, so maybe you'll finally be able to show off the immense power of your little terrorizing army. You are just like Rasputin. And no, I'm not referring to that cutscene from the season of the Seraph. I'm referring to how whenever linear fusion rifles are in the meta, or the best damage option, you're not afraid of whipping this hunk of metal out and blasting your beams of death, disintegrating those that despise you. I'm not even kidding, Sleeper is probably the most utilized heavy weapon for damage ever since it got its long-awaited buff. Plus, particle deconstruction absolutely melts when paired with this exotic. Although it is weird that this episode, it hasn't been utilized as much due to... I'm almost done. Just hold on, okay? Hey kiddo, let's talk. I think you're gonna be amazing one day, especially since you're shiny and new, have a turret buddy, and a really good catalyst in bait and switch. I think once more and more people get a hold of you, you're going to be a great DPS option, one that rivals Queensbreaker and Sleeper. I truly believe that you will be a legend. For now, get to know the other exotics, learn some new rotations, and once you're ready, give them hell. Alright, now it's your turn. Where do I even begin with you? You've been through quite a bit. You probably fell in love with Queens back in the Forsaken era, or when it used to dominate in Gambit. Jesus Christ, how many weapons are dominating in Gambit in the past? It was something special. But then came Bungie and your exotic fell dormant for a long time. You would often advocate for your exotic, while others would laugh and simply turn away. You would preach more and more, often than not. Many would not listen though. That was until now. Now, you're noticed by the community, and are being apologized profusely by your fellow Guardians, me included. Finally, you feel noticed and accepted just because Bungie finally let your weapon off its leash and experience true freedom and power. Just don't be surprised if they need to scale this thing back a bit. You are Valis Tuark. You wish for Empress Keitel to notice you every time she's present in battle, and you love mowing everything down just to prove your worthiness to her. You don't care who it is, what it is, or how it came to be. You have no regard for human, awoken, exo, or even a Lixney life. If it has a health bar, it can be killed. You are the shy kid that barely anyone talks to, but you have a close circle of friends that make you feel comfortable with your true self. That true self being a maniacal psychopath that has so much trauma to dump out onto someone that they can barely handle the amount of missiles coming out from your past. That being said, you love this weapon because it matches your personality perfectly. If bottling up your emotions just to let them all out at once is perfect, then I guess so. You are patient as If this is your favorite exotic, I just have one question. What's it like expecting a catalyst for a weapon just for Bungo to never acknowledge that this weapon exists? Then again, I don't even know what you could give this weapon for a catalyst perk. My best guess would be elemental honing, but time will only tell because you have been waiting since Shadowkeep. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, that's a sad fact. With no possible signs or leaks of any upcoming catalyst anytime soon. Sorry guys. Wait a minute. Hold on. You actually exist? Huh. Oh wow, yeah, I got nothing for you guys. Here, take a Nimby toilet for your troubles. Are you a fan of the Greek god of thunder, Zeus? Well, you must be, because holy shit! With the amount of thunderbolts you constantly rain down, not to mention the damage you output with this weapon, you might as well be him. Oh, but it gets even better because some developers over at Bungie were like, how can we make Thunderlord and Arc Titans the best in PvE? Oh, I know, let's give them even more lightning bolts. You love PvP. Specifically, trials are competitive because of the perk it comes with. This weapon is kind of weird because it literally requires your team to die before it kicks in. But I can see how much it could be good because of the situation you're in where you need to clutch up. Another thing to note is how this is the only 5-burst pulse rifle that we have, and I guess that helps it stand out. I've got nothing really funny to say about this one since I really don't use it that much. You love void explosions. Specifically coming from this weapon because of the mass amount of explosions it's able to capture just from a couple of kills. I like to imagine that graviton is like a nuclear bomb in a can. But once that can is open, it's very hard to close it again as it consumes your lust for more explosions. You must really love El Cipre. And honestly, who wouldn't? Either that or you're a Warlock main who already has some sort of buddy build in your loadout system, where no time fits perfectly. You're more of an ad clear type of person because of this weapon, but it doesn't matter too much, just as long as you don't have to worry about shooting any enemies and your little time vortex buddy does all the work. Now, the real question comes to, what do you call this buddy? For me, I specifically named it after a VTuber. Okay, moving on. You love building up your supers really fast, which is why you love this weapon so much. Sure, it may be underrated, but it's obviously better than other pulse rifles. And considering you get your super back in literally 30 seconds, that's plenty enough for you. Also, make sure you look up Bad Dragon on Google since you have that specific bundle with its ornament. Go on. Do it. I dare you. You went to Anna Bray and asked if you could get a pulse rifle and a sniper rifle. What you got in return was Revision 0. You love this weapon, not only for its unique combination and catalyst, but just look how clean this weapon is. Truly a goated design for a great weapon. Also, you have built-in anti-barrier rounds because fuck you, Arbalest mains. You are missing something that is so close to making you whole, and that goes the same with your exotic. With the right build, it is no doubt a sleeper pick to choose from, and the fact that we have a weakened and volatile perk that works well with this weapon's intrinsic perk is perfect. However, the fact that the only form of suppression from this gun to work fully comes in the form of a grenade really kills it from being the best. Perhaps Bungie has something cooking with this weapon for the next expansion, but it's too uncertain to really tell. You are one of two people when it comes to this gem of a weapon. The first is a support main, specifically with its catalyst, and possibly being a Warlock main with a speaker sight helmet and a healing grenade. You love helping your teammates and just simply being the supporting character in this isekai, MMO of a game. The second is a D1 veteran. When you saw this weapon come back alongside with Kvastov in the final shape, you knew that we as a community and as a game were back. Firing it made you flash back to the days of Destiny 1 when Xur sold this week 1, and for many, it was your first exotic ever. And when you missed out on a certain rocket launcher the next week. Though it's not what it used to be like it was in the past, to you it doesn't matter. Just make sure it doesn't get lost again. I ain't ready for another tower invasion. Where do I even begin with you? Outbreak. My perfect pulse rifle, my one and only. You are by far the best of the best when it comes to anything. The damage you put out, the nanites you spread, and the catalyst that you have. It's all perfect for a pulse that I cherish and love. You've been by my side ever since I ran the original 0 Hour mission, and you've been there from Grandmaster Nightfalls to even Pantheon itself. You have always been my go-to option, and I will always love you for who you are. And if you love this weapon, you still cope about Wrath of the Machine not being a playable raid. You looked at a Warlock's Nova Bomb and then went to Eris asking for that to be a rocket launcher. Why? At this point, this exotic just says that you have no skills in using a legendary rocket launcher without having some sort of tracking on it. Plus, the fact that you have to aim up and just let it fall slowly to the ground for it to do any damage tells me that you don't care about damage. You, just like Bungie when releasing this weapon, are a couch potato. You identify as a literal AC-130 military plane. I'm not even kidding with that analogy either. The second you see a group of enemies in front of you, the lock-on activates and you fire away like no tomorrow. That being said, it feels weird seeing this weapon in battle because rarely do I ever see anyone ever run it. Yes, it did get a buff since it deals more damage after killing 4 enemies, but it doesn't feel like something that Clovis Bray would be proud of. Then again, Anna and Elsie were more of a disappointment than his own life work, so... I have that feeling that if you use this weapon, you're the type of person that loves Neapolitan ice cream. Now listen, I know that sounds bad, but hey, all the respect to you. Two-Tailed is a bit of a mixed bag for me, especially when it got its catalyst, but it's still really cool. Now, would I choose this over other rockets in the game? No, not really. But I would use it to try and make it work within a build. Now, the real question is, do you like Neapolitan ice cream that much? You're a Moon Knight main in Marvel Rivals. Not because of this rocket specifically, but because you seem like the type of person that has this equipped and yells, "Random bullshit, go!" as you throw everything out just to get a two-phase on the Renaxis encounter for Vesper's host. Now all you need to do is just call out to Atrax as being a big fucking nerd and ask him where your damn icebreaker is. Have you ever played TF2? Well, if so, then you are a pyro main who decided to take a soldier's rocket launcher and combine it with your flamethrower. You are literally the guy from the "you burnt my house to the ground" meme who just looks so smugly at a baby fallen as their entire house is literally and physically burning. How could you do that to this adorable little thing, you monster? Wait, you actually made this thing? Oh my god, get the off this list with this underperforming piece of shit exotic. Go back to Gambit in 2019 when you were still relevant. No matter what changes Bungie brings, it's not gonna fix your dog shit exotic from ever being good. You are haunted by all of the "looking for galley" memes. Even when this thing came back and was rightfully overpowered a bit in the endgame content, you had a Vietnam flashback as all of the LFGs from Destiny 1 came flooding back to your head. Looking past it though, you don't mind assisting the team whenever you do rockets for DPS. And to be fair, Galley does feel a lot more balanced now that it's in a D2 environment. Sure, it may not be the powerhouse that it used to be in Destiny 1 or during the 30th anniversary, but it's still a somewhat good exotic that still provides for most of the game's content. You know, the only reason you would ever use this weapon is for that one Battleground Nightfall on Nessus. I seriously doubt there are any actual Skyburn remains, and if there are, I don't think there's a diagnosis I could make for how mentally insane you are. Let's be real with ourselves, you barely used this exotic until Solar 3.0 came in, and after Bungie made it compatible with Scorch. Now, whenever the artifact perk has Anti-Barrier or Overload Scout, you are quick to polish this beauty off and equip it in your Scorch loadout. Anna Bray would be very proud of you. What is it with you guys and taking your health down to nearly zero? Seriously, do you guys have a death wish, or is this just some sort of new kink that everyone has? Well, then again, people do also like so this shouldn't surprise me. Also, what is it with you guys and the weapons of sorrow? Haven't you learned anything from Eris or Drifter during this entire episode? Your exotic does not need to be classified as an exotic and you know it. You're just lying to yourself. I actually like you guys. You know how to plink people's heads off in Crucible, and the hipfire mechanic is so often underrated, but used by visually anyone not afraid to aim without ADSing. Though today it's a rather rare sight to see a DMT main in Crucible, unless you're playing Trials or on a long-range map like Disjunction. Overall, DMT, in my opinion, was a rather interesting weapon when it was released back in the Season of the Chosen, and it's still a fun weapon even after it became a craftable weapon as well. I loathe you, because this gun should have a better perk and catalyst for how it operates as a gun. Like, seriously, if I want to have a built-in radar as I ADS, I'll gladly take Ace over this thing. That also being said, you know how to properly piss a lot of people off with knowing how to play in the back of the map and just stalking your prey. You're probably a hunter who loves using invis and smoke bombs when rocking this exotic as well. Overall, I just loathe you. It saddens me knowing that more people don't use this weapon. However, if you do use this, you love stasis. And love is a bit of an understatement. Not only do you get stasis shards from precision kills or destroying crystals, but you also have a built-in headstone perk to create more crystals and overflow the magazine from collecting shards. The fact that this underrated exotic can be used by visually any stasis class and make it somehow work is mind-boggling to me that a lot of Guardians don't use it more. You, somehow, play a lot of Gambit. Seriously, what is it with a lot of these weapons in Gambit? Like, is there a correlation or something? You've probably gone through a shit ton of different exotics while playing in that playlist, and now Symmetry is the top pick to kill Guardians. I personally still think Symmetry should have gotten a really good perk like Jolting Feedback for its addition to its catalyst, but in hindsight, I understand why Bungie gave it Eddy Current, even if it's not the best thing to rave about. If I wanted a sniper in the form of a shotgun, I would have gone to Ada 1 and her Black Armory. But instead, this blonde-haired southern lady that you met on farmersonly.com just so happened to have this on her before she bit the dust, both literally and figuratively. And just like how you'd expect from every other exotic to piss me off in PvP, this one tops the list because of its single slug bullshit. Should I also mention that this thing basically has built-in extended barrel and somewhat a fragment of precision instrument? Just know that if you run this, I don't hate you. Just make sure your text chat is turned off, because I will complain. Not about you, but just the gun itself. You, just like me, suck at DPS sometimes. When that happens, you usually turn to this trusty weapon, especially when it comes down to close range DPS, like Herald of the Darkness or even Riven when your fire team doesn't have time to do her encounter properly. Whatever the case may be, you still bring some value to your team, and having a tractor is sometimes a blessing in disguise. Why? Why do you keep somehow finding your way back to this godforsaken meta? I don't hate you per se, but my god, I just keep thinking back to when Wolves terrorized Crucible, and I mean terrorized it. Look, I'm glad that you finally have a PvE presence, and honestly, it's nice seeing a shoddy finally make some noise. And it's gone. Just please no more PvP domination. I can't. You are Datto, or you've listened to Datto at least when it came to the Monument of Lost Light vendor. And to be quite frank, good job. You most likely also have its catalyst, which if so, then congratulations, you've won at dealing some really good damage. Don't get me twisted, you're not always gonna have it for certain damage phases, but when you have it available, you take the opportunity with everything you've got. Heh, shotgun Gerber. I want to like you, but at the same time, I have to ask myself, what makes this one stand out? Is it the fact that it's a slug? Is it its catalyst? The design? I like the gun too, but it kind of feels a little underwhelming. I ain't judging, but man, I just have to wonder. You probably apply Icy Hot on a regular basis when using this weapon. Strikes, Icy Hot. PvP to kill fellow guardians, Icy Hot. Raid boss melts, Icy Hot. Marasav along with keeping the helmet on, Icy Hot. It's a common occurrence for myself and others to apply Icy Hot because of how dominant and ridiculous it can be in certain modes. You also most likely run Icy Hot with a hand cannon in the energy slot because you just can't ever look past the old one-shot, two-tap meta, regardless of PvP's current state. Looking at you, Redrix. You wanted to have the chaperone, but in the energy slot. You love Crucible way too much and probably have at least 1,000 kills on this thing. You're also probably a Warlock main who has a spreadsheet of different builds that they can use in order to absolutely slap you in PvP with this weapon, to the point where you don't even want to touch this playlist anymore. And yes, I'm talking about you, Chrome. There, Chrome. There's your spotlight moment. Are you happy? Because I'm not. You are part of a gang, and it's probably much worse than the Cerberus cult. You live, breathe, and sleep as a member of the Rat Pack, and you probably run more as a small group in Crucible, as a Void Hunter in Super Black with On the Prowl equipped, screaming out, "West Side, mother!" as you step out from the shadows. But I wouldn't criticize one of the most lethal and well-known gangs in D2. Please don't hurt me. You're that person in the group chat who joined at the beginning to then just disappear out of nowhere. Just like your exotic, you pop up now and again, making an appearance, but aside from that, you're more so of a ghost. Which is a shame because a lot of people really like talking about you. You are a multitasker because, dear lord, you sure know how to juggle so many things at once. Similar to your exotic, you work on 3 tasks at once while balancing your love life, paying your bills, and even keeping up with school. Or, just like a multitasker, you have a bottle of lotion, and a box of tissues, and a private window open to watch. Okay, seriously, is aiming that hard for you nerds to do, or do you just bribe Bungie to put in as many lock-on weapons as possible? It was cool with Eyes of Tomorrow and Tiku's is Tiku's, but this is a step too far. Then again, you did have to deal with Bungie's own version of their Lightfall story campaign just to get this thing. So I'll give you a pass there. Just please stop bullet bending from around the corner, or I'm gonna have to buy a new Logitech mouse after throwing it against the wall so many times from you guys. Oh, you? You're a true fan of Bungie back when they had Halo. This weapon brought you back to the past when video games weren't all about microtransactions and when they were actually made with genuine love. But when it came to using this weapon, now that was the real fun. It probably took you a bit to readjust back to your old Halo skills, but once you got going, you just couldn't stop. Master Chief would be very proud of you. You are tied down to this exotic because your life literally depends on it. Mostly if you're not on Void Warlock at least. On the bright side, your exotic is the first and so far the only rocket sidearm under the exotic title. Plus having Devour as its given perk is a steal if you ask me. Now, if only the drop rate just wasn't so bad for my man Destiny Ghost. Poor dude can't catch a break, I swear. I know what you are. You, my friend, are the devil, the literal incarnation of Satan himself. Every time I come across you in the Crucible, I know that something is getting flung across the room and breaking into millions of pieces. Now, this next question is for the Bungie devs themselves. So, whenever an enemy gets that dumb LN2 burst shot and hits me with it, I get frozen and killed. But when I get it and shoot them point blank in the godforsaken forehead, that shit misses more than Riley Reloaded nearly missing out on Iron Banana. Which, by the way, I love his content, I just can't think of anything better to compare. Oh, and if I hear someone say, well, just get better, I would if this game's hit registration wasn't dog. Why the would anyone want a trace rifle as a sidearm? Also, you somehow exist too? What the is going on? I'm gonna say something controversial, which is more true than controversial, but I could care less. Izzy is so much better than most snipers on this list, aside from Whisper, that is. If your favorite exotic is Izzy, I respect the hell out of you because it's underrated as hell. I still consider Izzy for raid encounters or even Grandmaster Nightfalls. Its damage outsets others, and pairing this with a Lunafaction Warlock is just a match made in heaven. You also love when anti-barrier snipers is in the artifact tree. You're a solar hunter on Marksman Golden Gun, equipped with a Celestial Nighthawk and a hand cannon in the primary slot, and a rocket or grenade launcher with bait and switch in the heavy slot. You most likely have Radiant Dodge on, and you only know how to smash the out of your swap weapons button because of how many hot swap mods you have on. You want to believe that nothing can beat your unstoppable combo, and all I have to say is this: cope harder. You are a true D2 veteran when it comes to Whisper. You probably look for any signs of a secret mission, any chance there is either a new season or a new expansion. You love anything that's taken, as this gun just screams gorgeous, and you were even over the moon that your favorite weapon turned into a craftable weapon. Just make sure you hold your recoil down because that thing kicks like a mule. It's hard to believe that you're here. We thought we had rid the world of icebreaker mains from Destiny 1, and all for Bungie to just put the weapon back in game. Now I have to watch this demonic red and gray weapon dominate the PvP landscape while it automatically reloads. Why, Bungie? What? What? The f do you mean it's primarily for PvE now? Similarly to Thunderlord, you love Thunderbolts just a tad bit there. You smite basically anything that so much so even looks in your direction, and aiming for the head is an easy feat for you since the aim assist is like a magnet for your scope. I will also say you do have some pretty funny clips and insane ones in the Crucible that are just too cool not to mention. Okay, I can actually tolerate you because of how Borealis and its perks actually have a unique setup. Look, don't get me wrong, all three of the Amalon exotics with this subclass rotation perk type stuff like this suck. But what makes Borealis stand out is its Ionic Rounds perk, making it, in a sense, a mini Whisper the Worm. Look, I could make fun of you all I wanted to, and it wouldn't change how you view this exotic. I get it. You like what Darcy does, ever since Bungie actually gave a shit about it, and to be frank, the changes aren't all that bad. So you're safer now, okay? But I still think it should be an energy weapon over a heavy. Just saying, don't get mad at me. Look, before you comment, but Wolf, Newland isn't a heresy weapon. To that, I would say that it is by this specific symbol up here. So, shut up. Moving on. You're excited to have this back, but it's not the same as its D1 version. Maybe because it's not a primary, or perhaps it's because you're not Grenadier Jake. But I can say that this thing is an absolute beast to fire in any high-end content. Just make sure you get up to times 100 because whoo, that thing is spanks anything. You have way too many weapons that are either better than or equal to in skill to the Huckleberry. Your vault probably has a bunch of legendary submachine guns, and if I had to guess, at least 2 of them have similar perks to Huckleberries. Those being Kinetic Tremors and or Rampage. You know, Huckleberry is just a generic version of Taraba, but it has the perk set of most submachine guns that at this point, can we really even call it an exotic? Then again, it does have built-in subsistence and does pair well with Peacekeeper Titans. Nah. If a weapon could do a line of coke, it would be Taraba. Now, if a Guardian did that same line of coke with this exotic on, you have yourself an unstoppable killing machine. I'm not even kidding either, because once you charge up Ravenous Beast, you just go ballistic, and your enemy's health bars are completely wiped from existence, just like how Bungie wiped its vanilla campaign from ever being playable ever again. I'm just saying, D1 was able to keep its own expansions. You probably have that one song from Wicked blasting in the background while you are on a Titan with Peacekeepers, or maybe a Warlock with Heat Rises on. If I had to say anything nice about Manticore mains, it's that you definitely know what it means to be a literal fly on the wall. That is if the fly is constantly interrupting every 1v1 that I try to have. Like, seriously, what do you want from me? This was most likely the first exotic weapon that a lot of new players, including myself, received when getting back into Destiny. You feel like whenever you get shot by an enemy with Arc alone. Unfortunately, if you don't get a matchup against any enemies with Arc, you just throw a grenade at your feet and give it to yourself. Your best friends are either the Fallen or Hive Knights, essentially turning you into an electric fence that can reach out and electrocute anything within a 100-yard radius. Man, I love feeling like a god with this thing. I'm gonna be honest here, Bungie just made Thorn into a submachine gun. Oh wow, you're a warlock with necrotic grips? How cool. What's that? Your weapon also refills and overflows from the magazine too? So original. If Thorn had a sister in the Weapons of Sorrow, it would definitely be Osteo. Look, I don't know what you want me to say about this thing. I mean, it's literally just Thorn as a submachine gun, guys. Like, come on. Millions must stand behind barricades, and millions more with Pharaoh Dyad. You still believe this thing has the capability of being part of speedruns. Then you remember that Eager Edge is a perk that made this weapon absolutely obsolete. You can't even argue that claim either. Just admit that Bungie needs to do something to get this exotic back into talking discussions, or it's time to hang this thing up. Oh, thank God. I just had this dream where Bungie made an exotic that has a built-in hunter aspect into it and just made you invisible, and it gave you a catalyst that's basically a void fragment. Thank God that never happened. Wait, what do you mean it's real? Yeah, no one talks about you anymore either. It was a neat exotic that came out in Forsaken, but now it's just kinda meh. Most of these swords are, and that's not really Bungie's fault. It's just that there are better options now with all the swords that we get nowadays. Eager Edge essentially killed Wordline, and Flash Counter essentially killed Black Talon too. You love anything with a chainsaw on it. That includes Chainsaw Man and this weapon alike. You're able to tear through barrier champs like paper, and the combos you are able to achieve with this weapon make Smash Bros characters look like child's play. Unfortunately, there aren't many that talk about you anymore since the whole nerf situation for this thing, just being too godly, I guess. Just know when a buff for this does come in the future, you will don your weapon once more and bring fear back into those who defy you. This weapon is probably your favorite weapon for a plethora of reasons. Perhaps it has to do with its prismatic capabilities, aka its catalyst, or maybe it's the different frames and perks it gets. Maybe it's just a good looking sword that's place in the energy slot is so well deserved. Now, Bungie, can you please just stop giving me gathering light rolls, man? I mean, like, come on! You love. Hold on a minute. Suppressing targets. So you're a racist. Personally, I think this weapon is the worst of the original 3 trace rifles, and I don't mean that lightly.
Hey guys, look! I can suppress these targets by collecting orbs of power. Sure, I take up an exotic slot, and you could use a suppressor grenade, but hey, why not use me? Also, please don't look at my catalyst because it's not the best, but it ain't the worst one. Right, Jade Rabbit?
You love laser tag, and you also loved when laser tag was a thing in Destiny, praying and hoping that one day Bungie might bring it back. At least you can torch the absolute fuck out of your enemies and have a catalyst worth talking about. Also, isn't it funny how Bungie is having a mech versus tank game mode, but not a laser tag one? No? Okay, I'll see myself out. You must love ionic traces a lot if you're running this weapon. Whenever trace rifles get some sort of artifact mod or some sort of buff, this is the weapon you also come back to. For some reason, you're also a warlock with Fallen Sunstar equipped, but I'm sure there's no specific reason for that, right? Right? You love the Awoken lore so much that I might as well call you My Name is Bife. To be quite frank, you love this weapon not because of it being the first exotic trace rifle in the primary slot, but because this thing packs quite a punch in terms of damage. Sure, it's a stasis trace, but this trace also has a catalyst that allows you bigger damage numbers than the ones it did to Astrocross's mental health when he was trying to get this catalyst to drop. Your favorite movie is Space Jam, the second one with LeBron James in it. That's it. Yeah, here's a Rick and Morty meme that best describes your favorite exotic. P.S. You're the robot. What is my purpose? You create grapple points and give woven mail for allies? Oh my god. Gotta say, having a heavy trace rifle was not on my bingo card. Neither was having it as a kinetic trace, too. I have to give props to the weapons designer and to the people at Bungie behind this trace rifle, because holy crap, this is really cool. And all it costed me was my sanity for having to do all three of those story missions. You're a controversial one, and honestly, it fits for how much your weapon had to go through and nearly split the community down the middle. However, being a div bitch is still a mandatory requirement. Sure, you could have high boss damage or even fun with other weapons, but you will always be chained down to being a solar warlock with a cenotaph mask and a well. You will never know freedom. The darkness will swallow you whole as your fire team has all the fun in the world with their crazy builds while you're always stuck in the deepest pits of hell itself. You're also very funny to see in Crucible sometimes. Last but not least, you're the cooler Coldheart main. And that's not me being biased at all. Unlike Coldheart mains, you don't need to put on a special ammo finder. Also, you're the first primary ammo trace rifle that also has built-in jolting feedback, so checkmate Coldheart. And that about wraps it up. That was all exotic weapons in Destiny 2 and what they say specifically about you. I want to say a couple of thanks while I still have you here. Firstly, to my clan members, for helping me put this video together by providing some clips of their own. I honestly wouldn't have been able to do it without them, and with their time and help, it really brought this video together. Secondly, I want to thank you for watching this video. Whether it be the full video itself or just a small segment, it really does mean a lot to me. I really enjoy doing these big type of videos, even if my audience is small. After all, this channel is all for fun. And also for me to blackmail my friends, but that's besides the point. I'm really excited to see where Bungie steers Destiny next with this new era, and can't wait for both Edge of Fate and Renegades to come out. And who knows, maybe down the road I'll come back and do an updated version, or even an armor one. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you're new to my content, why not subscribe here? And finally, I'll see you all in the Edge of Fate.
Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire.